the instructor who conducts the business analysis classes. I have about 13 and a half years of experience, out of which about 8 years as a business analyst, and for the past close to 5 years, I'm into project management. I manage projects for a bank, and I teach part-time for MindsMapped. So yeah, it's good to see you all here. It's a nice mix of people with experience, without experience, and I've seen different types of people who would like to pursue their career as a business analyst. Sometimes people without experience are looking for an entry-level business analyst position, and sometimes people from other streams, as in development, testing, a lot from testing, trying to get into business analysis. So, the reason for that is business analysis is not a techie role. I mean, you can mold your career as a business analyst the way you want it to be. If you have some technical knowledge, that's always helpful, because you can apply for business system analyst roles and system analyst roles and technical business analyst roles and so on. But in general, to be a business analyst, you really don't need any technical knowledge. But having said that, I would also say that technical knowledge would definitely help in applying for certain unique job postings, or very, very specific job postings within business systems analyst or technical business analyst roles. So, yeah. Okay, anybody just joined? We're all fine. Shweta, just checking if you're hearing us. All right, I don't think so, but still. So today's class is basically a quick introduction to business analysis, or the first class, so you all get an idea on how this class is working, and you get a quick preview of what happens in this class, what software we use, how it is being used, and so on. So anybody here who knows what is a project? You can answer. You don't have to wait for others. Anybody who knows what is a project can answer this question. I'll remove this so you don't get distracted. I'll pick somebody in that case. John, do you know what is a project?
Yeah, that was a good explanation of a project that you had. A short endeavor to achieve specific goals by pooling in all the resources.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And in a very timely and specific outcomes.
Fantastic. All right. Pooja, do you have anything to add?
I would say, yeah, it's something which is done in a very systematic way, probably following certain steps, collecting data and using the data to produce a particular result in a particular amount of time.
Fantastic. Sridhar, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah,
Sridhar?
Yes. The project, it consists of multiple applications, resources, planning. Project can be initiated from the requirements, where we get the requirement from the business SMEs. From there, once you get the requirements, and there could be multiple applications involved in that project, and multiple phases, multiple development, support, architects. This many resources, sizing, and budgeting, there will multiple things could be involved within a specific project. Multiple application, multiple teams, multiple testing teams, and project management, budgeting, costing, and methodology, project methodology, how they're into really kind of thing. So project is a set of multiple things, and that can be tracked from the beginning to ending until it goes live, and also from the warranty up to warranty period.
Fantastic. Absolutely. So yes, all of you, are right. You all added a few points, and all the answers are correct. A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or a result. All projects are designed to give a particular result. The result could be a product, or it could be a service, or it could be any other result which is in mind while we execute or while we spend time, money, and effort on a project. Construction of a dam is a project. Construction of a power plant is a project. Setting up the IT setup for a particular bank is a project. Upgrading the software in an insurance company is a project. Building a house is a project. Sometimes we just restrict ourselves to looking at projects as IT endeavors. Not necessarily, but yes, predominantly we would be focusing on IT-related stuff. But from an understanding perspective, you got to look at all projects. Project is not restricted to IT. There are research and development projects, and then there are grassroots projects. You have nothing, and then you build something from scratch. Let's say you're automating a particular retail chain. Let's say there's zero software, and then you're building from scratch. That's called a grassroots project. And then there are existing software systems, legacy systems, systems that are pretty old and outdated. You replace them. They are upgradation projects. And many of you must have heard about the upgradation projects happening in different organizations. Organizations constantly upgrade their software systems so that they are in sync. They are in sync with their competitors. They are able to, work more efficiently. So projects are usually undertaken to achieve that particular result. It could be, getting that new product, or upgrading your services, or anything. The most important aspect of a project is that it is temporary in nature. A project should have a definite start date and a definite end date. No project is ongoing. And projects are usually split into phases and managed so that you achieve the end result efficiently, cost effectively, with superior quality within the approved budget. So they call it the triple constraint: time, cost, and quality. Right? So yeah, projects are projects generate a lot of jobs, so it's good to have projects from a job seeker point of view. All right. Hazel, what do you know about operations?
Operation is I can say operation is going step by step, so like if we want to do something, we need to describe, and we need to define it in the smaller pieces, so we will do one by one.
Mm-hmm. Can you give an example?
Like if I want to do warehouse operation, so first I need to schedule with a truck driver, then I need to prepare my shipments and prepare the worker to take the part and give to the truck driver, and the steps going one by one.
Alrighty. All right. Thanks, Hazel. Shweta, are you hearing us now by any chance?
Yes, I'm here online. Yep.
Alrighty. So, perfect timing. Can you tell us what you know about operations?
Operations. Basically, operations is something which manages the whole project and facility and everything. So it is a different branch where you have like an operations coordinator, and basically he handles all the payroll and bidding stuff and manages the whole process within a organization, kind of oversees all the control process, design, and all.
All right. Thanks, Shweta. Pooja, what's your idea of operations?
Well, I don't have much idea, but as far as I know, I think it's the basic infrastructure that you would need in a project, like the vendors or the assistance that you might need as a part of the project. Maybe I think that is what is controlled by an operations team.
All right. John?
I just want to know if it is a project with respect to operations with respect to project. Is that the question?
No. Just what you know about operations. What do you think operations team perform? What are their roles and responsibilities? Or anything you know about operations?
Well, if I consider operation from a company standpoint, I would imagine that is the core functionality of the company, of a business. There's something that they do that they are in a business to do on an everyday basis.
All right, fantastic. Sridhar, what do you have? Sridhar?
I would say set of services or kind of thing as part of operations. Who takes care of the monitoring different jobs and kind of things?
All right. Okay, so let me explain. So you all, what I understand is you all come from different backgrounds, and you have all heard of operations. So you all have your own explanations, and most of them are correct. You're not wrong. As in, can you all be on mute and just unmute when you're talking? I'm hearing a lot of noises, and I'm not sure who's making that noise. So, yeah. So those answers are all correct from different perspectives. We all have been into a bank, right? We all have been inside a bank. We all have withdrawn or deposited cash at some point of time. How many of you have been inside a bank 20 years back? Has anybody been inside a bank 20 years back?
Yeah.
Yeah? So what have you seen inside the bank 20 years back? How is it different from what it is today?
Well, it is more automated today. We have like drive-through bankings, and 20 years back, we didn't have all that. It was more streamlined, conventional way of doing things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's raise our thoughts back. Let's go into the black and white picture era. Okay. 50 years back, there were banks. There were tellers sitting there. They had huge ledger books where they maintained the accounts. On a daily basis, if you go withdraw or deposit cash, all those were entered manually into log books. And they would make calculations mentally or using, their notebooks. And then 20 years back, pretty much those guys inside the bank were doing the same activities, as in, they were assisting customers with withdrawing and depositing cash. But they had calculators, they had typewriters. So, life was made a little bit more easier compared to what it was 50 years back. Okay? And today you walk into a bank, you see those tellers sitting with those fancy LED screens, computers, and there are ATM machines. So pretty much it is all automated as much as possible. They enter the details into the computer, it calculates the interest, it does everything for the teller. Okay? But pretty much their activity has remained the same over the years. They assist customers with withdrawals and deposits. They assist customers with different products that the bank provides for customers, like, let's say, different loan products or different deposit schemes. So these are, actual operations guys that perform repetitive activities. They perform the core activities of the business. Now, a bank is in banking. Their core business is lending money and holding deposits from customers. So these operations guys are the ones that are performing the core activities of the business. You walk into a manufacturing plant. Let's take an example of a car assembly plant, an automobile plant. Level 1, the body of the car arrives. Level 2, the engine is fit by maybe 2 or 3 guys. And then the car moves from the second level to the third level, where, another 2 guys come and fix the doors. And then the car moves to the next level, where there is another set of technicians who come and fit the windshields. So these are specialized guys who are very skilled in their area of activity, and these are operations activities. What is the core business of the automobile industry? Manufacturing and selling cars. So these guys are involved in the operations. They are involved in the manufacturing unit. These are the day-to-day operational activities. Okay? So I would just repeat what I said before. Operations is nothing but the team that performs the core activities of the business. Does that clarify?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Sridhar, if you walk into an insurance company, who would be the operations team in insurance? In an insurance company, let's say Geico. Who would be the operations team in Geico? Sridhar? Yes, please go on mute. Yes, I like kids, but not now. All right, Sridhar, if you're not hearing us, I'll defer the question to...
Yeah, I'm going on mute, sorry.
All right, go ahead. So who do you think would be the operations team in an insurance company? Tough question. No worries, I'll help you out. So in an insurance company, the insurance agents that sell insurance, they belong to the operations team. The core business of an insurance company is selling insurance, you know. So the insurance agents and the team that performs these activities are the operations team. The support team would also be a part of the operations team. They serve customers. Yes, I understand what some of you are thinking, you know. Many huge organizations like a bank or an insurance company or a healthcare company would have IT as a support organization, you know, and those are also called as operations because they support the day-to-day activities of the business and ensure that the software systems are all up and running. But they're all support functions. You know, they are called as operations team because they are not working on a project. Because I've told you, anybody working on a project is working towards achieving a certain goal. You know, they are working towards that end product. Whereas some of these IT guys working in the operations for, you know, working in the support role for these organizations are not called as a project team, and they are called as operations team because they are performing a support role and they are not working towards any certain goal, and they do not have a start or end date. They are working on an ongoing basis. Any questions?
No.
Fantastic. John, any questions?
No.
Awesome. Shweta, you good?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Now, why do you think projects are initiated? Hazel, why do you think projects are initiated?
Because the companies need some help, and if they ask for the help or if they ask for the guidance for the expert from project team, so the project is gonna start.
Great, great. John, what do you have? What do you think is the reason for a project to be initiated?
I believe a project has to be, it has to have certain like resources, time. We have to kind of understand how long it takes, the resources it needs, like money.
So I'm sorry to break in, but I think I should rephrase my question. Okay. What are the reasons for a project to be started? You know, why should we start a project in the first place? Why do we think we need projects?
To have a real good control over the end result, have a timeline as into when the project results have to be achieved, and also to understand what is the budget which is required, resources needed, and also the business value. Some cases, maybe most cases. I think that's most of the reasons I can think of.
All right. All right. Pooja, what do you think are the reasons for a project to be initiated?
Yeah, maybe there was an existing project that is like an aging system, and you know, you need to replace it. That's mainly like a requirement, you can say, where you have to initiate a new project, a software upgrade, if it is an IT project, or if it's like an academic project and there is some kind of new process that's been introduced for the students, you know, or the administration. So that's the time when you have to initiate a new project. Yeah, that's what I can think of right now.
All right. Fantastic. Sridhar?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sridhar, why do you think projects are initiated?
To initiate a project, product development, particular requirements, business process, there could be some sort of changes. So those might have already gathered as a requirement. I mean to say there could be some requirements in order to initiate the project. That sometimes it may, in development perspective, initiating the project is getting the requirements. Before that, analysts might be doing all the process. The business analysts are the requirements, and they're drafting the maybe use case or a supplementary specification with the flow diagrams and chart diagrams and everything. Then they know before the time of initiation itself, there could be project sizing. So how many projects are involved? What are the total hours are required for the project? Okay, how many are involved? So each application, how much amount of time is required? Each team does it by some set of hours with development team, analyst team, and testing team, and deployment team. So also, this is the initial kind of thing. So that involves all the budgeting and planning. And before that, you should have all the requirements gathered. So in my terms, initiations should have some requirements or changes to the project.
All righty. All right. So how many of you know about Barnes and Nobles?
What is it?
Anybody knows about Barnes and Nobles?
The bookshop.
Yes.
The bookstore. That's right.
Yes.
Everybody knows about Barnes and Nobles?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Just in case anybody did not catch what I said, I'll put it on the chat window so you can have a look at it, Barnes and Nobles. How many of you have watched the movie You've Got Mail?
In parts, yes.
Anybody has seen the movie You've Got Mail?
No.
Yeah, I have.
You have?
Yeah.
All right. It's a Tom Hanks movie. It's a very good movie. So what I'm going to tell you about Barnes and Nobles is kind of touched in this movie. So if you get a chance, please see this movie. It's a very good movie. So Barnes and Nobles. Before I talk about Barnes and Nobles, if you go 25, 30 years back, there were no huge bookstores. There were small bookstores in every locality. So the main street had a little bigger stores, and the smaller localities had smaller bookstores. People were attached to their bookstores. There were no iPads. There were no, notebooks. So, people used to read books, literally buy books and stack them at home. Some of them had the habit of maintaining their own home library. So buying books was a culture. Reading was a culture. Going to bookstores was a culture. The bookstore owners knew their customers by name. Most of the time, they developed friendship. So all of a sudden, 20 years back, 2 decades back, 20 to 25 years back, in the 80s actually, it's a long time now. Yeah, in the 80s, when Barnes and Nobles came into the book world, they started setting up stores all across the country. They started setting up these huge giant bookstores where every books were available. Okay? You go to a small bookstore, as a customer, sometimes you might not find all the books that you need. You visit bookstore A, the regular bookstore that you visit. You don't get all the books. You had 3 books in mind. You find only 1, or maybe you didn't find that. So you go to bookstore B. Maybe you get 1 of the books that you wanted to buy, and then you go to bookstore C. Sometimes it's possible that the book that you're looking for is not available in any of the stores, and one of these bookstores would source that book for you and give it to you maybe after 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So that was the situation. And all of a sudden, Barnes & Nobles came with these huge, giant bookstores. All the books, all the possible books that customers were looking for were stacked in there. And there was also a reading area, so you can actually have a quick preview of the book that you're planning to buy and decide if you want to buy those books or not. So the smaller bookstores were running out of sales. Customers liked this idea of, getting all the books they want in one place and being able to preview. In a smaller bookstore, you can't do that. It doesn't look really nice to, read the book halfway across in front of the storekeeper or in front of the bookshop owner. But this was more convenient and comfortable for customers because every dollar you spend, you can actually validate before you buy the book. So Barnes & Nobles was doing fantastic business, and the smaller bookstores were running out of business, and they started closing down shops one by one. Today you don't see a lot of small bookstores, except in maybe the major metro cities where Barnes & Nobles are not actually within, the busy areas where they do not get so much of space. But the smaller towns started losing those bookstores one by one. They started closing. So about 15, 20 years, Barnes & Nobles was ruling the market. And all of a sudden, they had a competitor in town who was able to cut into the market share of Barnes & Nobles. Any guess who?
Borders?
What's that? I heard 2 answers.
Is this Borders? Not sure.
Okay, what was the other answer?
Amazon.
Amazon, that's right. Amazon came in picture, cut into the, heart of Barnes & Noble's business, selling books, and ate up market share. And you know how they did it? Without opening a single bookstore, they were selling more books than Barnes & Nobles within no time. Now, these guys who were legendary in selling books in the United States, all of a sudden were, left to sit there and think how to beat this guy. Amazon. Do we come up with more stores? Doesn't make sense because they don't have a single bookstore. They had a single, when they opened, Amazon had a single inventory warehouse from where they were shipping books across the country, and they had a collection bigger than Barnes & Nobles. Okay? So that's technical advancement. You can always improve the processes, existing processes by technology. What was the process of buying a book until Amazon came in picture? Get ready, dress up, drive your car, go to Barnes & Noble, spend 2 hours, 3 hours browsing for the book, and decide what you want and buy that book. Now, all of a sudden, this whole process was changed. Switch on your computer, don't have to move from your place, browse through the books. Based on the books that you view, there are suggestions on what book you might like, recommended books. Then you choose what you want to buy, click on it, pay through your credit card, and decide how quickly you want that book to reach you. So the whole process of buying a book was changed. The whole process was made simpler by Amazon. So Barnes and Nobles, although, even in this case, Barnes and Nobles cannot sit and watch their competitors grow, right? So Barnes and Nobles has no other option but to invest in a project, do something that Amazon did, open up their own bookstore, online bookstore, and initiate this project. So Amazon had to spend on a project to come up with this new technology, new online website. Now, in order to face competition, Barnes and Nobles has no other option but to invest on projects as well. Amazon did not wait and see. They knew that Barnes and Nobles is going to come up with their own website very soon. They had to do something different in order to have a competitive edge over their competitor. They came up with something called the Kindle, right? Barnes and Nobles, they did not give up. They came with the Note 2. So most of the time, competition pushes organizations to improve their processes, improve their technology, and give themselves a competitive edge. And all of a sudden, while these two were fighting over the book industry, there came a new player in the picture who was not in this business at all. And they came up with their own bookstore, online bookstore, and their reading device, and, ate the market share more than the two of them. Apple. Okay? So you never know. So organizations either adapt a proactive approach or a reactive approach. Organizations have to constantly reinvent themselves. They have to spend on research and development. They have to constantly improve their processes and procedures. They have to ensure that their processes are efficient and more and better than their competitors. Okay? So, what was I saying? I had a distraction here. Sorry about that. So yeah, Apple came in picture, and they started eating the market share, right? Mm-hmm. So organizations have to constantly reinvent themselves. There were many of you must have heard about Konica and Kodak. These were companies that were selling photography films about 10, 15 years back. What happened to them today? They were doing brisk business selling photography films, right? They were doing great. They were sitting on cash. They had a good amount of funds that were stacked. They were cash. They had a good source of cash flow. But somehow they have disappeared in the market today. What happened to those organizations that were selling typewriters? You don't know what happened to them. They were happy selling. They were happy doing what they were doing as of today. And they failed to think about the future. Organizations that constantly invest on projects, they do very good business. So that's the reason organizations spend on projects. Make sense now? Maybe 30, 40 years back, when Toyota came and set up plant in North America, Honda had no other option but to come and set up plants too. it was not easy to come and sell cars in a region where there were already, where there was already tough competition. There were big players here in this market. But then these two players, Honda had to follow suit because, their major competitor in their homeland was coming and setting up shop here. And there was no market demand as of that day, but most of the time, competition drives growth. So projects may be initiated to achieve a certain business strategy or the organization's strategic objectives, to cater to market demand, tackle competition, increase market share, comply with regulation, create a competitive edge, exploit emerging opportunity, and many, many other reasons. There's no end to this list. Projects could be initiated for a variety of reasons, for one or many of these reasons. Any questions? No questions? Was it that hard or was it that simple? John?
No questions, Vijay.
Fantastic. All right. So, yeah, we were talking about operations. The differences are that operations are permanent endeavors or permanent activities, day-to-day activities that support the business.
I have a question, though. Just came to me. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, the projects usually, they are not always external facing, right? I mean, sometimes they are just like, they are internal, they may not have a specific competitive goal. Is that a correct statement?
Operations are directly related to the business of the organization, and projects help, and operations help achieve the strategic objectives of the organization. Projects are temporary endeavors, but are designed to ensure that, the organization is able to achieve its strategic objectives through projects, So a project would not be approved if it is not in sync or is not in line with the organization's strategic objectives. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, I mean, ideally, it has to be approved by the senior management or mid-level management, so that
That's right.
It makes sense as a business value. Okay.
Projects have to be funded. Projects need cash to be executed. So the senior management would look at, the suggested projects and decide if they want to spend on that particular project. A valid justification has to be provided, and the senior management have to be convinced that, spending on this project actually helps our organization. Sometimes organizational strategy might change over a period of time. Apple was Apple Computers before. Now they're not Apple Computers anymore. Their organizational strategy changed from a company that produces computers and computer-related stuff to, a wider variety of products that serve people. So when organizational strategy changes, projects that are related to the new organizational strategy are approved. All right. Okay. So, how many of you know what is business analysis? I'm sure you all, have decided that you want to do a, business analysis course and, go in the direction of a business analysis career. So obviously, now, don't worry about whether you're going to be right or wrong, but you would be surprised to hear the different type of answers that people give. So don't worry about what others said, and if you may be right or wrong, just go ahead and tell us, one by one, what you know about business analysis. Hazel, let's begin with you. I'm not picking you; you're just first on the list. Go ahead, Hazel. What do you know about business analysis? Don't worry about what's there on the screen. Just go ahead and tell us what you know about business analysis. Hazel? All right. Let's come back to Hazel. John, you want to start?
Business analyst would, or a business analysis is comprising of understanding the business initiative, what they're intending as a goal, set of a series of tasks or steps, so that can be implemented on a IT from the IT department.
All right. Pooja, what do you know about business analysis?
I would say it's like a discipline whereby you identify the business needs and a possible solution to those needs, and it's not necessarily something new, but it could be something which already exists and looking for a scope of improvement in the existing solution that was provided before. And if it's business analysis, when you it's basically if you're assigned a project, then you try to analyze what you need and how you can work on it to make it better, and basically the different ways of of the data or the infrastructure that you would need to finish a project.
All right. Sridhar, what do you know about business analysis?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, maybe as a business analyst, analyst has to understand the existing process. Maybe the requirement might be coming from out of the problem. So problems as a requirement, the existing business functionality, there might be problem from the existing business functionality, or there might be enhancements to the existing business functionality. So somewhere the requirements would be coming through the IT. So the requirement, the analyst has to understand the requirement, and we has to do some analysis from the technical standpoint. I'm not sure exactly whether maybe business analyst would be doing some analysis from the technical side, but if he had a knowledge on the existing business functionality, and so then he will be able to understand the requirement. From there, he can do some analysis. Maybe he may be able to provide some solution to the requirement. So how whether it be fitting to the requirement, to the current business functionality, make sure the existing functionality doesn't break, or and adding the new requirement. So probably he must need to do some analysis on the current business process, and then he has to go back to the business with a solution to the requirement. So I would say.
All right. All righty. Shweta?
Yes. So business analysis is basically, I would say, is the set of techniques or various tasks which a business analyst uses it in order to work as a bridge between the stakeholders and the organization, the business process, understand the business process organization's business process in order to understand it, and then recommend the solution basically in order to enable the organization to achieve its goals. So yeah, it's set of techniques and various steps performed in business analysis.
All righty. All right. Hazel, what do you know about business analysis?
Business management or manager? Management? Okay.
No, just business analysis. What do you know about business analysis in general?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The companies need business analyzers because the IT department and the client's communication is not easy. IT is speaking more technical, but the clients are regular person and they don't know the coding, or they don't understand the computer language. So the business analysis is a person communicate between each other and translate to the client's requirements to the IT, and also IT requirements to the clients. So they make some transformation, and they are messengers also, and they make some works to better understanding their needs, and also their needs of explanations.
Fantastic. Alrighty. So you all know to a certain extent what is business analysis. Let me put it in my own words so you understand very clearly what is business analysis. We talked about operations. We talked about projects. Projects. Are majority of the role in technology projects are performed by developers who build the actual product, right? So a particular project is approved and work begins. Now they need to know what is to be built. The software engineers or developers or programmers, they are specialists in their own software languages. They do not know what the business or the customer wants. Let's say you work for organizations like Accenture or IIBA or Infosys or Wipro, as a software engineer. You're working on a project. You're assigned to a project. You have to know what is to be built. You have to know what is the functionality that has to be achieved as a result of this product. So that knowledge is with the business. The operations guys we talked about. Let's say, for example, we are building the software system for a bank. Okay? Let's say we are building a software system for the bank. Now we have to know what the customer is expecting on the screen. What should happen? What are the different products that the bank has? What are the different screens that are expected? What is the interest rate for, let's say, a deposit plan A? What is the interest rate for deposit plan B? What happens if the customer does not pay on time? How much, additional time do they get? And if they do not pay within a certain time, what is the amount of fees that they can expect? So all these requirements are known only to the operations team that are actually performing the business. The software developers need to know that information to be able to build the product. So somebody has to explain them that. So usually it's the business analyst who in the team goes and talks to the operations team or the business and understands all those requirements, documents them, and explains it to the technology team. That's why they call the business analyst role as a liaison role between the business and technology. Now, a thought might arise in your mind. So does it mean that the business analyst has to know in and out of the business? Not necessarily. As a business analyst, you might be working on different projects. Each project is unique. Each customer is unique. So there is something we call it as a progressive elaboration. On day one, you know nothing about the project. As a business analyst, you ask questions, you understand the business more. You put together all the different pieces of the puzzle, and you understand the big picture and also the minute details of the project. Okay? So as a business analyst, although you might not know all the information on day one, with time you understand all the nitty-gritty details of the project and you document them. And then you present those details to the technology team. Whenever there are questions that the technology team has on the business or business requirements or business processes or what is expected in the future state or the product that is being built, the business analyst is the point of contact that clarifies those questions. In some cases, if the business analyst does not know the answer, he or she would be the person who would talk to the business or the customers and clarify those questions for the technology team. Now, whatever I explain now applies to a business analyst that works for a project. Operations also hire business analysts. We talked about operations and projects, and now I just finished explaining what a business analyst does on a project. Operations too hire business analysts. Now, what does a business analyst do in operations? They would perform a lot of enterprise analysis activities. They would provide solutions to improve their existing processes. If there is a problem in a particular process or an issue in a particular process, they would look at various options to resolve that, help the senior management come up with new solutions in resolving existing problems. Or they would conduct market study and come up with different options. If the organization is looking at 2 or 3 projects and they want to decide which project to choose, which is the best project for the organization that is in line with their organizational strategy, the business analyst might perform those enterprise analysis activities like preparing a business case, preparing a vision document, preparing a problem statement, and that might serve as the base for a project to be initiated. And if the project is initiated and if the technology team is working on that, again, the business analyst would be the person who now knows in and out of this project, who serves as the subject matter expert in clarifying requirement-related queries to the technology team. So the predominant role of a business analyst is to understand processes, to understand problems and come up with solutions on how to, rectify the existing issues and serve as a liaison between the technology and the business team. Any question?
Yeah, I have a question. What is the problem statement? Also, can you please explain this with a small example, how a business analyst will work in a particular, environment, like any small case, if you could just give an example.
No worries.
Yep. Thanks.
Let's say, let's go to a classic example. Let's go 20 years back. Why do you think ATM machines came in picture? There were branches that were getting crowded. Customers had to face a long waiting period whenever they visit branches during peak hours. Sometimes it could go up to 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So, they came up with options. They looked at this. Customers were obviously frustrated. If it might be for a simple activity like withdrawing cash or depositing cash, which none of us like to spend a lot of time in the bank to just deposit or withdraw cash. So when there is a huge crowd, they have to do something to fix this problem. There were many options. Who would come up with options? The business analyst must have put together, the existing processes, and they might have considered various options. I'm just making this up to help you understand. Option number 1 could have been to increase the number of staff. What is the cost associated with that in the long run? What is the immediate investment to do that? Increase the number of branches. That's option 2. Or automate the whole process of withdrawing and depositing cash. So customer need not have to wait for a teller to actually, be available to them. So let's say in this case, the business analyst would have looked at the various options available to resolve the existing problem of the branches being overcrowded. Does that help?
Yes. Yes. So the problem statement might be, what will be the problem statement in this?
The problem statement would be to resolve the long customer waiting period in the branches.
Okay.
So it's a huge document. We'll see that in detail in the coming classes. I'll explain you all the contents of the document and what has to be there and what should not be there and so on.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes.
All right. So with that, so business analysis, I just explained what is the role of a business analyst. The business analysis is a set of tasks, knowledge, and techniques required to perform all these activities, which we would be learning as part of this course. I'm sorry, I just, I was given an hour, and I realized that I crossed my time limit. That's all right. Any questions before we wind up the call for the day? Any other questions? All right. So if there are no questions, let's call it a day. And the classes would be conducted, the weekday classes are conducted on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 p.m. EST to 10 p.m. EST for about 5 weeks, within which we would cover all the course contents. The course contents is available on the website. And just in case you have any other questions, you can contact Monica.
Sorry for interrupting. Just a quick question here. So, at the beginning, we all were speaking about an IT analyst and a business management analyst. So, are the training different for both, or it's the same training?
No, it's all the same. By the end of this course, you would be able to apply for jobs like IT business analyst, business systems analyst, business intelligence analyst, business operations analyst, and business management analyst.
Okay.
Management analyst as well. Yeah. So this is a generic course that covers everything. So now there are some cases where there are really people who have worked in technology for a long period. Obviously everybody has some knowledge that can be used. So theirs would be useful for applying to very tech-savvy IT technical business analyst roles.
Okay. And how is the growth pattern? Like, how does that go?
Okay. As a business analyst, you have multiple options. That's a very good question. Thanks for asking, actually. You know, unlike other jobs, as a business analyst, you have a wide variety of career options, a 360-degree option, actually. You know, some people like to, you know, work on a particular domain and become a specialist. I know business analysts who have worked on the same domain, like, let's say, credit cards or insurance or healthcare for 10, 15 years, and they become a specialist in that domain. They are called subject matter experts, and they become consultants. You ask them about their particular domain, they know in and out of those domains because they have worked on similar projects for many number of years. So that's one option. You understand the domain. Now,
Okay.
there are candidates who have worked as a developer or a designer or a test engineer for a few years, and then they transition into business analysis. They become a techno-functional business analyst. They understand both technology and the business operations. So they become techno-functional business analysts. You know, these are the guys who can become a designer or an architect. Okay, so that's another path to a business analyst's career progress. And then business analyst is considered as a stepping stone into management. There are BAs who can, you know, if they're interested, start working along with the project manager and perform some of the project management activities and become a project manager. Now, I belong to this category. I started my career as a business analyst, and then I moved on into project management. So you can also become specialized in just business analysis tools and techniques and become a lead business analyst, and then become a functional business analyst manager, wherein you manage a team of business analysts and then grow in that direction upwards. So there are a variety of roles that are available for a business analyst to pursue. Does that clarify?
Yeah. Thanks for that.
All right. So let me give you this link so you can have a look at this video and understand better. Give me a second while I do that.
Okay.
There you go. I put something on the chat window, so you can go through this video that would understand, you know, what it is all about, the career options.
Thanks for that.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for attending this session. If you can just type